Hey guys. So forgive me as I get situated here. I wanted to do this unboxing of the Goliath Tarot, and I initially was trying to figure out if I wanted to do just a really long video or live, and well, here we are. Um, so first and foremost, I really, really want to adjust my camera, apparently. Um, I think my cat was up here like rubbing my camera, so I'm sorry guys. He's a butt. There. Hopefully that's all right. Um, what I was going to say is I wanted to first and foremost thank Goliath for being so kind and sending me a copy of his fantastic deck. I have been talking with him a little bit on Instagram, and I was sharing how I was very drawn to his deck, and mostly for the purpose of shadow work, but also just to explore it really because it intrigued me. And this is one of those decks that I initially wasn't really sure how I felt about it, but I think that's really what drew me into it. So we are going to unbox it. And have my trusty knife, open up that myself or damage anything. But I did think that it would be really fun to do this live. I'm so nervous about cutting the box. I can't see what I'm doing super well. So there we go. Just because of the camera setup, which I am tinkering with. Anyway, I probably should have taken the shrink wrap off of this before I decided to do this, but I'm not as prepared as I would have hoped. So this is the second edition, and he does have some copies available on his website for this edition. I believe the third edition is out of print, but if I'm not mistaken, you can probably still find it secondhand on various tarot buy sell trade groups. But there is some differences between the first and the second edition. I don't own the first edition. This is the first copy of this deck that I had. So I do know that you used to be able to pick this up on Amazon.com USA, but he actually had just made an announcement, I believe yesterday, saying that he was no longer going to be doing that and that it would be only through his website. So I will be sure to put the link down below once I'm done with this. But yeah, so let's take a look at the box first so you can kind of see some of the cards. And yeah, 95 cards. It's a beautiful box. All right. Where's Philly? Oh, there we go. Beautiful. I love it. I'm particularly excited about, I'm trying to figure out what to do with the lid. I'm particularly excited about the guidebook. I actually was told that he really put a lot more into the guidebook for the second edition, and it's quite meaty and almost like a novel. And I am just really, really looking forward to reading it and really diving into it. So this is the guidebook. And there he is. Art is how I see myself and how I express myself. It's my interpretation of the world I'm in. Art and creation are the only things that I never get sick of. They heal me and lift me, keeping me buoyant every time I'm down or feeling like I'm sinking. I invite you into my world, my very own tarot manifesto. All the cards in this deck talk to each other and hold a fragment of my heart and soul in them. This is my gift to you. Welcome to my Goliath tarot deck. I love it. That's how I feel about art too. I have been a artist for quite some time, since I was a child, and it's just as I've gotten older, I've started to realize that that is deeply who I am. But as you can see, this guidebook is very, very packed full of many things that I'm going to be greatly looking forward to. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, change, and growth. Ah, yes. There are worlds within worlds. You just have to look at or look a little harder. Open your heart and be brave. That's an amazing picture. I'm really, really looking forward to this. I really love it when artists have a lot to say about why they created the deck, what led them to it, and their whole story behind it, because it's essentially telling me their story, but through the lens of tarot. And to me, tarot is just so deeply spiritual and psychological that it can be so intertwined in every step of our lives. So this guidebook is really incredible. Many different spreads. I kind of like how he laid them out on these pages. And then the majors, which, I mean, I don't want to get too much into that because I do want to look at the cards, which they shrink wrapped again. Oh. All right. Oh, it's like velvety and soft. I'm having a tactile experience here. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's the Fool. All right. There's the right to grab that side. And then there is. Oh, the ribbon must have slipped out a little bit. Yep, there it is. I love it when there's ribbons included. I got to do that with my my Antique Anatomy deck because it keeps slipping under the cardboard. So I'm going to just open these up carefully off camera here. And the other thing I am going to say is that I don't know if I really be able to see the chat considering where I am positioned. So if anyone is in here, I'm sorry and hello. If not, and you see this later, totally fine. I just really wanted to do this live and dig into it and kind of explore it and take my time with it. And because I feel like this deck is going to be a deck that's really going to be me taking my time with a lot of things. So I'm going to, there's the first deck of cards. I'm just going to set the box carefully aside here. Try and get into my shrink wrap. This is not a way that I'm used to filming, so please be patient with me. Oh, I don't need my knife for that because it's already like slightly perforated. There we go. So I do know that the first edition had different fats. It was larger and it had gold gilding. This has black gilding, which I'm a big fan of. And it's like a matte smooth. But it's wonderful. I really feel like my camera is just all wonky here. I can't get involved in my life as usual. Just straighten out here. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to put the guidebook aside as well. And I'm probably going to be spending quite some time with these cards. So we have the Fool, the Eternal Vagabond. There's really small writing there that's a little hard for me to see. I'm just going to grab it really quick and take a look. Oh, okay, it's just the copyright. All right. I was like, is there something I'm missing? Oh, he's cute. Just looks so happy plunging off of this waterfall. That vantage point is really cool because we can see that there's a cliff up here and a tree and the sky and then the waterfall, and the Fool, he's jumped off of the cliff at this point, which is interesting because the Fool and the Rider-Waite, he's just hanging out on that cliff looking rather jolly and glee. But this Fool, no, he's gone for it. He's like, I'm going, I'm jumping. That's it. We're doing this. I've definitely had moments in my life where that's happened. the magician, the alchemical master. That is really cool. There's a lot of infinity symbols I can see in there, which he included. Um, it's a panther. He just there's something there's some writing it looks like up here, which I'm actually kind of curious about. I need to be able to look closer though. It looks like Arabic, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I just like the presence of the smoke around the magician because to me, I see the magician as basically the conduit um, between desire and manifestation. And so I'm seeing the smoke as a good representation of that thinning the veil and stepping from one plane to the other or one presence to the other, essentially. The high priestess. Oh, beautiful. Again, this is interesting because the to me, cats have always been very psychic animals. They are what you would consider half in and half out. They're very intuitive creatures. So having the high priestess, crescent moon cat, it's so funny because my love for Sailor Moon, I'm like, it's Luna. Anyway, I'm gonna stop being dorky. Um, Actually, no, I'm never gonna stop being dorky. Never. But I just love that this the Sphinx is the Sphinx kitty is the high priestess because cats are like I said, they're very intuitive animals and they are very connected to the spiritual realm and their intuition and they are half in, half out. We do have kind of the pillars here in the background, much like you would see in the Rider-Waite depiction, but they're trees. So that's awesome. You can see the moon back there and kind of these stars around her. Just beautiful. Oh, wow. This is interesting. The Empress, the alchemical mother. I like how it almost looks like an X-ray. And yes, she's clearly pregnant. She's carrying life. You can see the symbol for Venus down here. There's also looks like there's another small symbol right here. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but I'm going to take a look at it up close. Hard to tell what exactly that is. Um, she's a peacock. And to me, what I see from her is just that pure radiant beauty, but also this life and death that we it's kind of interesting because the way that I see nature and the way that I would see, per se, the Divine Mother would be a bringer of life and death because nature is life and death. And that's just kind of what I take from this Empress, which is wonderful, honestly. The Emperor, the ruling father. He's got a chain around his neck here. That's interesting. Holding his cloak. I like how he's got different horns, and he just looks very pensive and calm and calculating, which is the way that I see the emperor in many ways. Or in many ways, I can't talk, guys. I'm sorry. That's really cool. Oh, this one. This one gives me the Demogorgon vibes for anyone who's seen Stranger Things. I know it's clearly not that, but I mean, it's just the shape of its head. But I like the keys with all the different symbols for different spiritual paths or religions there. The eyes are intriguing. That is just haunting and really cool. Huh. This is so much to take in. The teeth around his neck. Behind him, it looks like just a desert. It's just interesting. That is a very intriguing card. I imagine I'm probably going to be saying a lot about this card. The lovers, the flamingos. There, you've got the heart, the human heart right here. which actually looks to be the symbol for the chakra. Actually, I have to pull this close to see with some French. The alchemical heart. And I like how they're forming a heart as well. It's interesting though. It almost looks like this one is gazing forward and that one's gazing off that way, maybe. Huh. Very interesting. Oh, this is beautiful. The chariot. To me, this just makes me think of Japan and Mount Fuji and the cherry blossoms and I love Japan. I went there when I was younger and went to school there and stuff. So to me, that's the first thing that I see. But either way, it still captures the movement of the blossoms, the movement of kind of this angle that you get on the mountains. It still creates movement in the image. And then you have the movement of the horse and the mane. It's beautiful. Justice. We've got doves with the laurel leaf, I think that is, if I'm not mistaken. But I know doves are representative of justice as well. You see the scales. It's cool. I love his use of so many different shades in a black and white deck. It's impressive, really. It's impressive because it's not easy to work without color, honestly. Color speaks volumes to us. Wait, I forgot I didn't read the Chariot of Osiris is what this card says. The doves of equality. Okay. The hermit, armadillo, the inner master. I love how he's so protected inside these this brush. And it also looks like he's got stars around him too. It's interesting. And protected within himself, of course, too. I like his gaze. Just keep looking at it. The Wheel of Fortune, the Great Wheel. We have feathers and wings and crystals. And then we have the base of a tree with the rings. That's beautiful. Oh, and there's the pentacle. I feel like if I look at this more and more, I'm just going to find more things. Strength. Oh, I have seen this card before and I really, really enjoy it. I actually had every intention on retaking my photo that I have, my thumbnail photo for my YouTube channel and my Instagram, holding this strength card because the previous one that I was holding was the strength card from the Wild Unknown, which is a beautiful strength card. But this one just now resonates with who I am now versus who I was when I took that picture, which actually was in 2017. And it's crazy how much you can change in that time. But either way, this is just an interesting perspective. The lion and the cobra. A cobra could definitely hurt a lion, and a lion could definitely hurt a cobra. That is very cool. The hangman, the suspended monkey. I like that he's got a mala on his feet here. I love the perspective that it's very clearly he's high up in a tree. And of course, with the hangman and my own path being a Norse pagan, I always think of Odin. So I think of Odin hanging from Yggdrasil. And that's just the association that I always have with the hangman. But yeah, that's interesting. I love it. Yeah. The metamorphic moth. That is beautiful. You can see the moons, the moth's wings, the skull, and the bones. I like the gradient of darkness too in the background. Gets lighter here and very black here. That's beautiful. I'm I'm very partial to koi. I actually have a tattoo of koi fish on my back. But the pond of balance. You have the yin yang, the lotus. It's beautiful. The devil. This is another card that I was completely aware of in this deck, and I think had I not known, probably would have scared the crap out of me. But I do know, and it's like it's creepy. Don't get me wrong. The Master of Lies, though, that's a good description. But it's also really interesting because you have the snake, this like black, just dark snake up here by the goat's ear, almost like it's the one that's telling the goat to be this vicious creature. And the expression on the goat's face is just intense, intense as fuck, honestly. Oh, it's good. I love it. Like, I'm unnerved, but I'm okay with it. The tower. Oh, this is so heartbreaking. Many moments in our lives when we have a tower moment, as I like to call them, they can feel just like this, where everything is just being destroyed and you are just standing here unable to change any of it. And I love the pain that's been shown in this image because having a tower moment in your life is this is very emotional, very strong depiction of it, and it's not one that I think I would have ever seen in my own head, but once I see this, I think, "Yeah, that's the tower." I mean, that is definitely the tower. Oh, even the baby birds there too, it seems like they're just stuck in this tree, and it's lightning and fire, and yeah, that is definitely the tower. This is a very, like, visceral image in my opinion. The star. Oh, the cosmic guide. I'm just curious. The burning tree. That's what it was from the top. The cosmic guide. The star is one of my absolute favorite tarot cards. I actually plan on getting a tattoo of it. It is my astrological birth card, being an Aquarius, and it's a card that when I got my first tarot deck, it stalked me basically for a good year. Um, and so I just have a deep connection to this card. But this is interesting. The fact that it's cracks inside of a tree's stump. I really am curious to see what he says about this in the guidebook. Oh, the moon, how beautiful. The silver shadow reflection. I love it. The sun. The beams of life. The bears. But look at those claws, though. Ooh, those are gnarly claws. Oh, judgment. Wow. Again, another very visceral image, in my opinion. You see this bear, there's light above him coming down, and he's just emerging from this water. He looks so tired, just so worn down, but still coming up. I hope he finds an ice polar bear. I hope he finds some ice to sit on soon. The world. Oh, this is interesting using fish to depict it. The sacred circle. That's beautiful. I love it. Again, I'm all about water vibes and ocean and stuff too. Just I grew up in near the ocean. The Ace of Cups. I really love how instead of the water just kind of pouring out over the sides and overflowing the cup, it's like splashing. It's going everywhere. This water is just it's a very like the water it's a strange thing to describe it this way, but it's very expressive, I think. I'm wondering what these claws are. Interesting. You can see the clouds above with some birds in the sky and the Two of Cups, intertwined snakes. They're light and dark, they're connected. They have what looks like the caduceus, but it has the lion head on it. I actually am not sure about that one. Now I can't wait to read the good book again. Like I'm so excited. The Three of Cups, the Trinity Triangle. They're all working together. But I love the skull like helmets on them too. That's interesting. Crows are another animal that I associate with a very spiritual presence, much like cats. The Four of Cups, the wandering mind. Just instead of reading the book, we're just laying on it and we're, that is so cool. You can see the discontent in her eyes. The Five of Cups, the spilt regret. This one's, you can see the liquid clearly in this one. I love the play of shadows on this. I think that's so fantastic. The Six of Cups, reuniting the reuniting water hole. I love it. The Seven of Cups, the tentacles of illusion. Oh, I love that it's tentacles, and you can see what he chose to put in the cups is interesting too. There's some humor lettering here. Eight of Cups, the high door. That's interesting for the Eight of Cups. We're not just leaving something behind, but we're going to a new venture. Oftentimes, I see the Eight of Cups more depicted focusing on the fact that you're leaving something behind, but what's ahead? Where are we going? I love it. The Nine of Cups. The pelican's got the fish and the cups, and that's also interesting how, again, this one almost looks like an X-ray, but there's, no bones, but it's got the same kind of coloring that you would expect. Ah, orc. I have a thing for orcas. They are a very deeply spiritual animal to me. They are, in fact, like the spiritual animal to me. um, so this makes me really happy to see them. Ten of Cups, the joyous sky. Oh, I love it. That makes me so happy. King of Cups. Okay, so the courts. All right. Okay. I was like, wait a second. I'm confused, but here we are. King of Cups, the chief eagle. He's got his eye. He's got another eye here. That's really cool. To kind of show that intuition is how I see it. Oh, the Queen of Cups, the Mother of Crystals. How beautiful. She has a crystal crown. She's kind of gazing up at the sky. Knight of Cups, brother of the wild. Oh, he's howling and you can see his breath, and then there's the wolves like within his breath. That's beautiful. These trees back here, they look like evergreens. So, you know me, I'm gonna be happy about it because I like evergreen trees. Brother of the West. Beautiful. Whoops. Wait, no, we're good. Page of Cups, the sister of roses. She's beautiful. Ace of Pentacles. Like some sort of bird of prey, talons singing to this pentacle. In the sky. Two of Pentacles. The juggling snake. I really am curious as to why he chose the animals that he did for each card. And I'm looking forward to again reading the guidebook and knowing that. The Three of Pentacles, the three wise masters. It's funny, I look at this and I actually think of one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Princess Mononoke. And so I look at this and think they're forest spirit. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it's fantastic. Four of Pentacles. The prudent mountain goat. The Five of Pentacles. Hardship mountain. You can see the crows. All these poor horses. They looks like they've clearly starved and they're just struggling to make it. And usually crows are much like vultures, but they can be rather opportunistic about um, their meals. So when they see something close to death, they tend to linger. And that's one of the reasons why crows are associated with death. The Six of Pentacles, the sacred white. I can't read that part right now. Just a second. Scale bill. I should have figured. Jeez. I'm not sure what's on his head. It looks like I'm not sure what that is. See the pentacles above him. These scales, one is higher than the other. I just have to say that I think it's incredible how there's a lot of expression to the animals, which is interesting because none of them seem to be humanistic in any way. They all seem primal, but they're also still expression and emotion, which is just interesting. The Seven of Pentacles, the rewarded rock. Yeah, that's quite the triumph there. Getting a fly from all those Venus flytraps. Oh, the Eight of Pentacles, the patient weaver. Oh, this one gave me chills because I'm actually really terrified of spiders. Just earlier today, I was showing my son some images of various snakes, and then I was like, okay, this is gonna make me really uncomfortable, but I'm gonna show him a picture of the Goliath tree spider. And yeah, I was like, I can't. After a good like maybe 5 minutes, I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. It's really, ugh. But regardless of my own fears and uncomfortableness of this, the truth of the matter is that the spider is a master of her craft, and they dedicate so much time and so much energy, and they are truly careful about how they get their prey, how they build their web, where they build their web. It's honestly amazing, and that's definitely something I can appreciate with the spider, even with how much they creep me out. The Nine of Pentacles, the tranquil spotted doe. How beautiful. I love that. That's a good depiction of the Nine of Pentacles. How beautiful. Ooh, the Ten of Pentacles, the oyster of, oh, again, I can't see. Metatron. Ooh, with that one. Oh my knee tries. I'm having a moment as usual. I wonder why he chose an oyster. I suppose it's because they can produce pearls and so and thus like something abundant. That's interesting. The King of Pentacles, the Father of Roses. I love tigers. I think they're just very majestic creatures, although fierce and dangerous. But this one looks majestic as hell. He's gorgeous. The Queen of Pentacles, the Indian henna mother. Oh, she's beautiful. I love, again, she has an eye, a third eye as well. Ooh, the Knight of Pentacles, the Aztec hawk warrior. See, again, this is another thing that I'm greatly appreciating is that he seems to have really included a lot of different cultures within this deck. And I'm really enjoying that, especially because it's kind of more showing the more shamanistic um, or magical, in a sense, cultures. I'm not on my game with my words tonight, guys. Trying to be as articulate as I can, but the Aztecs were very interesting, to say the least. And I've learned a lot about the Aztecs through learning a lot about Santa Muerte. So it's just been an interesting thing to learn about. The Page of Pentacles, the butterfly snow vixen. How beautiful. Again, another very intense expression on this creature. The Ace of Wands. Interesting that we have the Ace of Wands, which the wands are associated with fire, and we have this blooming of this branch, but it's being held by an octopus. That is interesting. Two of Wands, the lightning struck antenna. Oh, I love it. That is gorgeous. Lightning is so powerful, and I'm actually just thinking of something rather funny. I don't know um who has and who has not seen the movie Hook, but me growing up in the 90s, of course I saw it. I was a big fan of Robin Williams as well, which heartbreaking when we lost him, to say the least. But I suddenly was thinking about the scene where Smee is talking to Captain Hook and he has an epiphany essentially, and he goes, "Lightning just struck my brain," and Captain Hook goes, "That must have hurt." I don't know why I thought about that, but I did. Here we are. Oh, I'm seeing the chat. Hi. Three of Wands, the creative bone prism. Oh, that is cool. You have Metatron's cube, which I'm just now starting to learn a little bit about. My friend Drew, who is She Who Walks Between the Worlds here on YouTube, was enlightening me about it recently, and it's interesting. I like how the bones are tied together and they're creating the triangle, which is the strongest structure. The Four of Wands, the beaming vessel. Beautiful. Or you can see, yeah, there's light coming from the turtle's fins. You can see the skeleton within it. And there's light coming from its other fins here. It almost looks like his eyes are glowing as well. The Five of Wands, the jagged union. Ooh. It definitely gives you a very, like, um trying to think of the right word here. For me, when I saw this, I immediately was like, "Oh, that must hurt." The Six of Wands, the Goliath 5. Bees are such hard workers. I mean, there's a reason why we say worker bee, but it's true. They do so much for us, and they are astoundingly connected to each other and how they communicate. Even with if the hive feels threatened, they release hormones to bring others to the hive or to the threat and to neutralize it. It's fascinating. Or can have a good name. Yes, he can. The bee, yes, I can see how the bee could be a very spiritual creature as well. I was just talking about the orca because it's shown in one of the previous cards here. That's one of my spiritual animals. The Seven of Wands, the determined otter. You can see he's carrying his sticks. There is his house that he has built. I love the perspective once again too, because you can see these trees back here in the mountains. Oh no, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. My allergies are so bad right now. The Eight of Wands, the meteor shower. Oh, this is such a cool depiction of the Eight of Wands. Just this energy, this fire, this movement. And, naturally, I'm going to be really appreciative of this kind of imagery considering the tattoo on my arm. But still, um, this is not something I would have thought about for the Eight of Wands. And that's one of the other reasons why I'm really enjoying this deck is because it's definitely getting me thinking in different perspectives. But I see the Rider Waite depiction of it within this. But this is just, in my opinion, this resonates with me more. But Rider Waite and I, as much as I have a deep appreciation for it now versus when I did when I first started reading tarot, I still don't particularly care for it in an artistic standpoint. The Nine of Wands, the darkness before the dawn. Yeah, yeah, that's you can see the dark forest here and the sun kind of coming up over the horizon, but there are these trees in the way blocking the path. And Ten of Wands, the overburdened beetle. He's just trying to carry these thorns. Beetles are pretty resilient little creatures too. Just the season. Yes. Ugh, and my allergies actually like they used to just be in the spring. Now they're in the spring and the fall because yeah, getting older. I'm a lucky individual. The King of Wands, the glowing white stag. Again, I'm going to reference Princess Mononoke, but just because of the horns and stuff, it makes me think of the forest spirit and how he glows. Oh, that movie is so cool. It's been a while. I should probably turn that movie on at some point soon here. I love the almost I think the dream catcher it looks like within his horns. Ooh, look at her eyes. How beautiful. The Queen of Wands, the cosmic huntress. Oh, that is so intense. She is staring into my soul right now. This is whoa. That is I mean, look at her. It's just whoa. And that's the thing is I've actually gotten quite a bit of a uh like heart jumping up in throat reaction to a lot of these cards where it's just like, whoa. And I'm very excited about that. The King of Wands, the kind-hearted moose. Oh, so sweet. You can it's funny, like looking at him without reading the word kind-hearted, I could see the gentleness in him, probably also because of these birds perched up on his head too. But he also has like a or did I say King of Wands? This is Knight of Wands. He also has kind of a regal or determined expression too, I would think. That's how I see it. I'm gonna read you guys' comment. Woven dream pictures kind of look like the chakra. I have noticed some chakra imagery in the or imagery in this deck. I need to finish Princess Mononoke, but all of Studio Ghibli's films have a pagan theme. Yes, yes, they definitely do. Princess Mononoke specifically does, which is probably why I really like it. But most of Hayao Miyazaki's films are very influenced by Shinto, of course, too. Specifically, Spirited Away. So they're amazing, amazing work. So, Page of Wands, the Moonscaped Messenger. This is actually giving me Freya vibes, just because Freya, who is my matron deity, she has a falcon cloak, and she is associated with falcons and cats, and the boar actually. But I don't know. This one just has like a fierceness to it. Like, look at this. Love it. The Ace of Swords. It's a snake. Huh. Like the almost cracked here. I think you can see it kind of. I'm reading your guys' comment. Yep, the enemies. Yep. I for quite some time have been fascinated with Shinto. Honestly, since I was a kid, and there's a Shinto shrine in Washington State where I grew up. There's also I also went and visited one when I was in Japan, of course. And I can honestly tell you that the energy in those places is just so profoundingly peaceful. It's incredible. Shinto is beautiful. Two of Swords, the blind seal. This is so interesting because the moon is darkened out here, almost like we're having an eclipse, which creates darkness and thus being blind. But also, the seal does not have eyes, yet there are candles present there. That is very interesting because this is light. So, just if I'm quiet, it's because I'm reading your guys' comments. And I have to like look over at my computer screen because I'm sitting at a different table near my computer. The Three of Swords, the bleeding raw heart. Oh, I love this. It's up on this pedestal, but there's these spikes here with the swords that have broken through the glass. It's like we tried to protect something and it still got damaged. That is really interesting. The Four of Swords, the sacred space. I love rabbits. My family used to raise rabbits when I was a kid, so I was around them a lot, but this is beautiful. Can I just lay in this field with this rabbit too, surrounded by roses? That sounds like a good escape, a good meditation, a good break, which is essentially what the Four of Swords is. Oh, the Five of Swords, the white scorpion versus the black scorpion. Oh, this is intense too. Look at this. He doesn't even care. He's like, I'm probably not gonna win here, but here we are. The Six of Swords, the brand new journey. She's taking her babies with her, and there's this tornado and this storm. The swords are down here, and she's flying into the storm. It's like we're leaving behind this pain, and the journey is going to be extremely rocky. But here we are, and this is what we're doing because we have no other choice but to go forward. Wow, yeah, that sounds familiar. The Seven of Swords, the thief in the night. Yeah, if it wasn't snakes, it's doing this. It's also foxes, and there are many animals that do this. But it does depict that once again connection with nature and life and death. But I like how he plays on the fact that snakes can often be associated with not only change, of course, but also um with deception, which is the Seven of Swords essentially is. But that is cool. The Eight of Swords, the imprisoned bear. Oh, this again makes me think of the Judgment card in this deck too, but almost a different perspective. We haven't emerged from the ice yet. We haven't come up. We're stuck. The Nine of Swords, the overwhelmed sea turtle. Oh my goodness. That is that is fear and anxiety, and that wave is coming for that sea turtle. Oh, the Ten of Swords, the barren desert. This tree is bleeding, and these birds are actually all the other birds are dead, but this one. Wow, that's interesting. And there's no life but this one bird. Oh, uh, that's wow. The King of Swords, the father of the night. His eyes are blackened out. The Queen of Swords. I can't read the text because I'm blind. Sorry, guys. Just a second. The Baroque Queen, I believe that says. I'm just looking at her for a minute. Beautiful. Some days I'm the Queen of Swords. Some days I'm the Queen of Pentacles. A lot of days I'm the Queen of Cups. Some days I even have Queen of Wand moments. The Knight of Swords, the hooded brother. He's rising above all of these other little, they look like muskrat in the night. Wow. The Page of Swords, the sword bearing sister. Again, I just want to talk about how fantastic he did with dark and light and shading, and the presence of where he chose to put light versus where he chose to put dark to kind of draw your eye around the image in ways that I don't honestly think I've ever seen, and certainly wouldn't think to do myself. Okay, so we are now in the new, or the extra cards of the deck. Oh, the caution, the heedful mouse. He is almost in that snake's grasp. The Ojibwe catcher, the shadow dream catcher. So the Ojibwe tribe actually was present in northern Minnesota here, and there is a tree, a cedar tree that's up on the north shore of Lake Superior that's called the witch tree, and it is sacred to them. To so much so that you actually are not allowed to go near it unless you are accompanied by someone from the tribe who has spoken for you. And it's just interesting. I actually have a photograph of the witch tree that my mother-in-law took. Um, quite some time ago, but it's hanging up here, that away, um, kind of near my altar. I'm reading your guys' comments. They are yeah, they really do. Um, that's exactly what I use in my art. I would love to see some of your art, honestly. If you can send me a link to some of your art, I would love to see what you do. Beautiful. Expansion, shedding snake. Ah, the sacred heart, the heart and soul of Goliath. Beautiful. The karmic release, the sacred karmic deer. This is interesting too because butterflies are resemblant of transformation. They're also resemblant of souls of the dead. So just interesting. Nature, the seed of life. I like how he chose a pine cone. He could have chose any other seed, but he chose a pine cone, which makes me really happy because again, I love pine and cedar trees and evergreens. So naturally I'm gonna be like, yay, pine cone. The sacred fire, the rebirthing bond. Oh, I feel both sad and at peace looking at this. It's like that moment where you have to let go and it's painful, but it will bring you peace. That is absolutely this image. The karmic soul tribe family. Beautiful. Oh, I love whales. Family. Yep, that is actually really wise to use whales to depict that. Essentially because whales they are very connected to their pod and um or at least I'm thinking more orca, but I know humpback whales, which is pictured here, they are very connected to caring for their young as well. And that's beautiful. The hidden inner strength, the shadow cat. Oh, yes, I love it. Look at the shadow is roaring. Oh, this is so good. There are so many things about this image that I just love. It's a cat, first of all, and you know, she looks like she could be taken on. But then you see her shadow that is roaring in strength, and there's just so much to be said about facing our shadows and becoming that, all for the better, and, oh, it's so good. This is so good. Ooh, Masks, the hidden wolf. Wow. Emerging from the sheep with the blood coming out. Wow. That is something. Yep, one of Freya's cats. Thank you. That's how I feel about it. Freya is my fierce lady. It says you're a nut. I mean, let's face it, I'm totally a nut. I mean, I'm surprised you guys are here watching me, but here we are. This has taken me almost an hour to go through this deck. I still have a little bit more left to do. This is why I wanted to do a live instead of, ooh, the shadow self, the dark inner swamp. Okay, the first thing I think of when I see this card is, again, I'm going to reference a movie. I'm sorry, guys. It's one of my favorite movies growing up was The Never-Ending Story. I'm an 86 baby, so I mean, but one of the most terrifying things about that movie was the Nothing, which was the villain, but you never saw it. It was just this darkness that came and destroyed everything. But then this is actually making me think of the Warg, the Black Wolf. Um, in that movie, there's a scene in the end where the hero Atreyu is talking to the Warg, and the Warg is pretty much like in much like this. Although I think it was rocks instead of the base of a tree, but and he's just talking to him. And it's an intense scene and it's really creepy. I remember I hated it when I was a kid, at least that particular part. But that's the first thing I think of. Yeah, Fenrir, you're right. With this one, yep. And biting off Tyr's hand. Like honestly, I could see that even with like that blood is maybe from Tyr. Whoa. This one doesn't have a title, but it's really intense, and I feel like I could maybe stare at this for quite a bit. And I mean, it's clear it's a mirror image, but that is cool. It looks like it's the base of a tree looking up, but I'm gonna have to look at that a little bit more because that is really interesting. The shaman, the medicine healer. He's got a bird on his head too. There's just so much going on with this character. It's a cheetah. There's a bird. There's a mushroom, part of its head. And then there's shells and bones. The star seed, the demiurge. Oh, I love it. Again with cat, me. The stage, the purity. I love this. Although I personally don't burn sage in my practice just because I resonate more with using cedar. But the interesting thing about this image is that what's in the background is essentially evergreens and pine cones and cedar trees. So I can definitely get on with that one for sure. Yes, with the moon phases. No, that is amazing. So, whoa, I'm throwing cards, guys. I'm sorry. I could try to shuffle this and do a sample reading, or I could be done. It's up to you guys. I'll let you decide. But I'm really looking forward to getting into this deck, and I'm really looking forward to working with it, particularly with the vibe that I'm getting is also with very spiritual readings. My intent was to really work with us for a shadow work deck, which the other deck that I use a lot for shadow work is the Marielle, because that deck is very deep and profound. And it just, that deck is something else for sure. But so is this one, and this deck is beautiful. And Goliath is a very kind soul for sending this to me. Um, I really appreciate it. I hope I'm gonna let him know that this is up so he can take a watch when he's got an hour to kill. Can I get my vote for sample reading? Yeah, sample reading. Okay. Um, this deck. So no shade against the Wild Unknown. The Wild Unknown was a beautiful deck that I worked with very closely for quite a few years, and just within this last week, I actually sold my Wild Unknown deck, which was a big thing for me. But part of it was because this deck had started to feel almost to me like what I had was hoping to get from the Wild Unknown, and it didn't quite hit the mark. Especially as I've evolved over the last 4 years since I've gotten the Wild Unknown deck. I had pre-ordered it when it came out. Um, Mass market. So these stick together a little bit just because they're matte. The Ghost Tarot. Okay, so not the same as Ghosts and Spirits. The Wild Unknown, like I said, it's a wonderful deck. It's it's really beautiful, and honestly, I do enjoy some of what Kim Krans has to say on her cards. I do wish that she had a little bit more involved in her guidebook, but sometimes the things that she says in there honestly were enough for me, and they still got me thinking, and it didn't matter. All right. So I am just going to draw 3 cards. I tend to like draw one and then shuffle. I used to just pull from the deck. Um, whenever I've stopped, but now I just kind of shuffle and I continue until I feel like I'm ready to stop and pull another card. Oh, they're stuck together. There. And I don't know how well this is going to be shuffled because when I first get a deck, I actually lay all the cards out and I throw them into piles, and then I kind of make sure that it's really shuffled. Oh, they stick together. I'm going to have to break them in a little bit. Okay. Go. All right. So we have the karmic release, the King of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. So it was actually pretty decently shuffled. Shuffled. I said shoveled. Oh. Yeah, basically that's it. And that's the practice of how I shuffle my cards, and now has changed because I have been trying to tap into my intuition more. So I'm not going to read his entries for this are very large. So I'm not going to read them all because if it's further over here. So there's one of the last cards if I'm missing. This El Shadow Tree. Okay, so that's that one that was. I'm figuring this out. Page. Oh. I'm having a moment where I'm being kind of airheaded because I'm an air sign. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, here we go. I found it. What spread are you using? I'm actually just drawing 3 cards to draw 3 cards and see what this deck has to tell us. So I'm just going to read off the keywords for these, like I said, because the entries are really lengthy. So let's see. It says, actually, no, never mind. I'm going to read it. If you've pulled this card, then you are looking at a beautiful release of karmatic energy at this time. There are many different interpretations of what the concept of karma is, but for this artwork, it is simply something that ties to the laws of cause and effect, a purging of one's self to regain purity and grace. This card is reminding us that every thought, action, and vibration has an effect. That's essentially how I view karma, guys. I don't think it has any sort of like numeric, but I do think that it's supposed to teach us someone else's being, building them up or hurting them. We must own our actions and also see the flow on effect we have through our actions. Simply choosing to deflect and blame others is no way to grow or expand. If you truly believe you play a part in your own karmatic journey, then you have to accept and take some level of conscious ownership of yourself first. This card is all about purging and releasing, letting go of pain, troubles, anguish, and hurtful lessons hurtful lessons learned. Sorry guys, I'm dyslexic. I'm dyslexic, so you might hear me stumble on my words. Here we see a beautiful release taking place, with a gray stag opening his mouth and releasing hundreds of fluttering butterflies, all breaking free and heading up into the cloudy sky. The butterflies represent the final stages of evolution, a coming to end or beginning of a new stage in a being's life. In understanding oneness as a natural truth and law, it is said that you cannot hurt or harm another without hurting or harming yourself on some level. This card is not about you having to face bad luck or that you will receive bad karma from doing something out of balance that negatively affected another. It is more about the actualization that your karma has now been released, as karma equals action in nature and the universal flow of laws of cause and effect. This is not the same as a punishment and retribution, simply action and reaction. The word karma is depicted in Hinduism and Buddhism as moving through the past and being released from things like revenge. It is connected in having It is connected to having a sense of faith that balance will be restored in time and in conjunction with the sum of a person or being's actions in previous states of existence. As past actions will influence their fate in a future state of incarnation in this and or another timeline. This card is looking directly at your karmatic path. It is said that karma can be changed by intervention or self-realization and actualization. Thus, when you have finally mastered a lesson for you, you will inevitably release your karma. This is known as karma released. Remember, you are the master and creator of your own karma. This card is signifying a lesson you have just learned or and has now been released. Keep this lesson close to your heart and let it go. Um, you should. I think he would be grateful because this is a beautiful deck. And like I said, I'm going to have a link to his website down below. So this is interesting, this card right here, because looking at it from a personal level, this is something that I have been really mindful of lately, my own actions, my own intentions, and how they affect others, and where I stand on those things. Recently, I was thinking about how not every action needs a reaction, and sometimes it's important to just sit with your feelings and figure out why they're doing what they're doing to you. Recently I saw something that perturbed me, and I thought, okay, well, instead of reacting to it, maybe I should just sit and try and figure out why it's perturbing me. And I feel like these are the stepping stones to self-actualization. And these are the stepping stones to becoming a better person. If you take these actions and learn to really understand yourself and your intention and what you put out there to other people. And, he makes a very good point of essentially when you're harming others, you're harming yourself in some way. So, because you are stifling your ability to grow, is how I see it. Um, so that's, I mean, on a personal level, but if this was a collective level, it could also be that too, in a sense, mostly because things are very tumultuous right now. We have, at least I'm here in the States, so we have an election coming up. Things are very, very tense with COVID-19 and very tense all over the world with COVID-19, but it's become very politicized. And, so there's a lot of that collective energy of people not taking accountability for their immediate reactions without sitting with their feelings and thinking first. This whole year has been a very strong presence of that, especially with what has been going on with Black Lives Matter movement and all that stuff too. And I'm not trying to get political or anything like that. I just really wanted to bring about the larger picture outside of my own personal experiences with what I'm doing here too. So the next one is the King of Pentacles. The Father of Roses. Trying to figure out where he's got the courts in here. Okay. They are in the order that I'm used to them being in. Okay. In this card, we see a majestic white Bengal tiger looking directly at you. His gaze is strong and powerful. This energy looks directly into your soul through your eyes. This is a male energy that is based on discipline, structure, and control. He wears a crystal crown with roses atop his head to show his passion and power. This majestic energy that goes after, this is a majestic energy that goes after what he wants and he attains it. He deals with things head on. The King of Pentacles is a fatherly energy in a business or family group. It likes to oversee things and take care of others in a material way through lending money or sharing his wisdom or knowledge or nurturing others on their journeys. It's so funny because that right there, sharing his wisdom and knowledge and nurturing others on their journeys, that right there, I immediately think of Odin. because that's basically the connection that I have with Odin. So that's interesting. That was just the first thing that popped in my head. He makes good decisions in finance and is more than happy to share with others. He has reached a state in his life where he has done hard work and is now financially free and secure. Oh, wouldn't that be a dream? He may even work directly around money and finance, teaching others how to manage their assets and create equity and improve their financial situation. His sheer power and majesty can not only be seen but felt. His feet are on the ground. He knows where he's come from, and he remembers everything he went through to get to where he is today. This is strong male father energy that is based in structure, financial structure, and security, his work and family. Everything he seems to touch in or everything he seems to touch radiates as it turns to gold. His temperament is calm and steady at all times, and others seek to trust him as he is able to keep secrets inward and not be judgmental. The King of Pentacles seems to have an endless bag of tricks up his sleeve and can be the person that can just so happen to be able to fix anything that is broken or dusted around the house. His skill set varies, and he likes to help others whenever he can be around the workplace or at home. He's generous with his time and is happy to help others in need. So this is basically I'm just peeking at your guys' comments. Pretty much when I look at this card, here we are talking about accountability for ourselves, our actions, and that release once we do so. And this, to me, is more of what could come after. What could come after you really start to look at yourself in this way. So you could have this stability, this ability to be generous because you have the energy and the sight to do so because you are more mindful of your own actions and your own karmatic exchange, pretty much is what I see with this card. But that's really interesting. And then we have the Knight of Cups. Again, with the Knight of Cups here, at least in the images that I'm seeing, there's that connectivity to others. So I'm kind of curious if that's going to come to play here. Oh, major arcana. That's not helpful. I'm still navigating the guidebook. Sorry. Pentacles. There he is. All right. The Knight of Cups is represented by a young male wolf looking at the stars. He has one foot in the dream world and another foot in the other. He is a creature. He is creative and super intuitive. The Knight of Cups needs a lot of space to be free, and his heart belongs to the great divine, the wild. He is charming, agile, and attractive. This card indicates a deep connection to others, and also a connection to a tribe or pack. This is a young male adolescent energy that is playful and a natural dreamer at heart, who may wander off from his group to simply be alone in his dreams and thoughts. Isolation sometimes is needed for him to reconnect and look deeper inwards. Much like the wolf, the Knight of Cups is a powerful hunter pursuing the things that he wants. He is connected to his family, groups, and tribes in a telepathic way. He cherishes his family and sees no separation between himself and the people he loves. He will lay himself down for others and sometimes opts to be a ruler of his heart more than his head. This can sometimes get him hurt. If this card has come up in a reading, it is telling you to pause, reset, and gain composure, and ultimately that you are learning more you're leaning more towards your heart than anything else. So I actually would take this card maybe as, I do think that there is that connectivity because it is pretty much depicting that as well, which I think has a lot to do with what's going on energetically in the world. Um, and taking accountability for our actions as we're kind of going back here and talking about how these cards connect and talk to each other. But also to pause and reflect on, again, where we're going, what our emotions are, where do we stand, what's our intentions, how can we use that to connect to others for the greater good, pretty much. How can we look inward to figure out what we need to overcome before we can step out to help others? So um yeah, this deck is really incredible, and it's going to be a very profound spiritual tool to me, I think. So I'm really, really grateful for it. I'm very grateful that he sent me a copy, and I really hope that I can have many readings and many thought-provoking experiences with this deck. It's truly incredible. I'm very blown away. I think more so than I really ever thought that I was going to be. It's one of those things where like you don't exactly know what your expectations are, but then all of a sudden your expectations are blown out of the water, and then you're in a completely different place, and you're like, well, I'm glad I'm here, but this is interesting how I got here. So yeah, thanks guys for coming along and watching with me and sharing some of your thoughts and listening to me ramble essentially about this. But um, my other intention is that, oops, we're missing a card. That I am going to work with this deck rather heavily for shadow work and whatnot. And then I really want to do a video um, after, I want to say probably about a month or so, maybe a couple, depending on how long it takes, um, where I talk about my experiences in a little more in depth after I get a chance to really explore this deck. But I am full of gratitude and excitement and eagerness and nervousness a little bit, but either way, I'm just thrilled. So thanks guys for being here, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed me go on about this deck. Thank you for watching, and as always, blessed be.